And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Over the next hour, we unfold your map to financial freedom. You'll learn how to retire through investing in single-family and multifamily real estate. You'll learn how to create cash flow and build wealth so you can have the time and money to live the lifestyle you want.
Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon. That guy over there, his name is Scott. Together, not only are we members of Lifestyles Unlimited, a real estate investor education and mentoring company, but we're also changing our life with real estate. Now, I joined back in 2017 because I had a real retirement problem. I had spent 27 years serving in the United States Army, and I had earned a pension, and I tried to retire off of that pension, and I had a big problem because the pension only paid me 1/3 of what I used to make, but my expenses didn't go down by 2/3. So I had to scramble and get back into the workforce. And then in 2017, I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, and it changed my life. It showed me things that nobody else had showed me. It showed me information that the Army couldn't show me. It showed me information that my master's degree and my baccalaureate degree didn't show me. It showed me information that was focused on me and what should be important to me and how I can follow a roadmap to financial freedom. And Scott, welcome to the show, by the way. Scott, I'm guessing you've got a similar path. When did you discover Lifestyles Unlimited, and how did it come about?
Well, thank you for having me on, Al. I discovered lifestyles back in 2019, when I was actually driving in my car and hit AM radio, and I heard Dell's voice on there, and since that, I listened to the radio show all the way through, and I thought, wow, what is all this? So I kept it on, and I kept listening to the show, and it stuck with me. So then I wanted to learn more about it. And so, so I got online, and I figured out how to reach, the lifestyles members, and then I became a member myself, and I guess, the rest is history. I was, a member since 2000 or 2020. Um, but I guess we can get into uh, that a little bit more. But yeah, I've been a member for a little while, but I couldn't pull the trigger up until recently. So, like I said, we could talk more about that if you want.
We'll definitely get into that. But what I want to do is I want to jump into your past. I mean, are there any skeletons in there we should avoid?
Absolutely not. Um,
Okay, good, good. Everything's on the table. This is good. This is good radio for the audience. They like to hear that everything's on the table. So let me ask you a very pointed question, and let me point out that there's a little bit of an age gap between the two of us. I mean,
mhm.
I pretty much figured out that I think I'm about 22 years older than you. So I'm thinking that maybe how you were raised might have been a little bit different than how I was raised, especially given the age gap. But more importantly, I think that there's a chance that you may have been taught the same thing that I was taught by people that loved you, people that cared about you. And this is what I was taught. I was taught that to achieve success, I had to go to school, I had to get good grades. I had to either graduate from high school and go into the workforce, or I had to go into college, which was the preferred path, go to college, get more good grades, because that would actually set me up for greater success because I'd have a degree. And then I could go into the workforce and success would be laid out on a platter for me. Did you hear anything like that growing up?
Yeah, it's strange. I heard very similar. And yeah, very similar. And unfortunately, I followed that same path. Um, I started working young, grocery store, and then kind of like a lot of friends in high school. And, um, I always had at least one job. I was never lazy or anything like that. But yeah, I was, told, we always got to have a job, something that pays well. And then, yeah, you got to go to college. So I went to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but, I went to college and got good grades, got a degree, and then thought, yeah, I got one degree. Why don't I go get another one? So I thought, why don't I go and be a lawyer and started doing that. And yeah, working the whole time, different law firms, and thought that that was the way to do it. Just have the cool job and get paid the big bucks. And um, yeah, that was not what it was supposed to be. Because that did not work out. And then I stopped going to school. Um, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a while, and I got into the union trades. I got into sheet metal working, and I just there's just something, something wasn't right. I was like, this can't be it. I didn't want to be doing this until I was 65 or whatever retirement age is. I didn't want to be on a ladder swinging a hammer. Um, but yeah, then like I said, right when I got into sheet metal working is really when I found lifestyles. And I, from when I first started listening to it, I was like, what, this is something. This has got to be, skeptical, like I think a lot of people are, but there's something about it where it's like, it can't be fooling everybody. Like, it can't be a scam. So it took
Or
me a
is it?
long time. Or is it? Right. We don't know. So it took me a while for me to really pull the trigger on it. I would go to seminars and I was participating. I was listening to the radio show. I was doing everything, but I'm like, this can't be it. It's too good. It's too good, but it is everything that Dell says it is, that you say it is. And now that I've pulled the trigger and I decided I'm going to make a change. Um, Now it's all changing, and it's real.
Yeah, it's definitely real, especially when you decide in your heart and in your mind that you're going to take action and you're going to do the things that you've been taught to do. When we come back in the next segment, I'm going to talk to Scott a little bit about fear. It's a real problem. Stick around. Welcome back to the show. So, Scott, before we went to break, I mentioned we're going to talk about something called fear. Now, let me qualify what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, walking into an old creaky house with no electricity on and cobwebs hanging down and waiting for the boogeyman to jump out at you. I mean, that's a type of fear. What I'm really talking about is the fear of maybe failure or the fear of going against something that you hold true in your heart. For instance, you and I were both told that the path to success was to work hard, get good grades in school, get into a career, trade time for money, and do that. And then along the way, somebody told us about maybe a 401k or an IRA or some kind of retirement program, right? Did you hear that stuff?
I still hear it. Yeah, pensions and
Yeah.
401ks. Yeah,
Do you have those things?
I I I do. I contribute zero. If it's I try to contribute as little as possible to that. Because I don't. Yeah, that system does not work, and I found out the hard way it doesn't.
Okay. Well, that was a good segue into the question I was going to ask you, but let me take you back to the fear concept because what I want to understand is why would you join an organization like Lifestyles Unlimited in 2020, yet wait several years to pull the trigger? Was there something going on in your life that you couldn't control? Was maybe fear of failure? What were the mitigating factors that kept you from actually doing the things that you were taught to do?
In 2020, that's when I started the career that I'm at right now, which is a union sheet metal worker. So I wasn't
Okay.
making much money. and I had a bunch of credit card debt. I had school loans. I had a lot of debt, but I was making enough to where I could pay all those bills and and still be able to live, and that was fine. But in 2020, that's when I I had I had I had the overwhelming feeling like I need a plan B. So if because of the way that everything shut down and work went away, and I thought, oh my God,
Yeah, the
if
whole pandemic going on, right?
right, and that's when I had this realization like I can't rely on somebody else's business. I can't rely on this, whatever economy that I'm in, working out. I just couldn't rely on it. And that's when the big change in my mind was, it was right then. I was like, I got to do a plan B. I got to do something like what Lifestyles offers. Um, and that's right around, that's right when I started listening to the radio show too. Um, the only problem was I just didn't know if it was real. I didn't know, like, cause, it just seemed too good. Like, why wouldn't everybody do this? Also, did I have enough money to even start whatever, this was? And, I didn't know enough. So I had to educate myself. Well, wasn't real, I guess I educated myself through lifestyles, um, through the education that they offer, through meeting all the people, going to seminars, that all that lifestyles offers. Um, and that's what really got me into it. Um, they provided everything. All the education and information is there. I just had to do it.
Now, let's tell the audience geographically where you live. I mean, you're out in the Pacific Northwest, right?
Correct. I'm in Seattle.
How viable is it to take the methodology that Lifestyles Unlimited teaches about how to make money 5 different ways in real estate on the single family side or 6 different ways in the multifamily side? How realistic is it to take that roadmap and lay it down and invest in Seattle?
Oh, if you want to lose all your money, that's like, yeah, Seattle would be a great place to do it. You do not want, it does not work in Seattle at all.
What causes it not to work in Seattle?
Um, just about everything. The prop,
I love it.
everything. The property value. I guess the biggest thing are the tenant laws, the tenant and landlord laws. Um, the numbers, they do not work for the houses up here. And let's just say it did work. There's not an example up here where it works, but let's say there is one. Even so, if with the tenant and landlord laws up here, y- you there will be problems. I'm not saying for sure, but there will be problems with trying to get somebody out of the house or just being able to um, get the right person in your house, asking the right questions. I mean, you don't want to be in this market. It's just, yeah, Seattle is not where you want to be putting your money. For me, anyway. That's just or at least with how Lifestyles does it.
Do you guys have like judges that favor residents over landlords up there?
Absolutely, and it happened to my dad. He owns a
Really?
rental property. Yeah, and he had someone in the house and legally could not get him out of there, and they destroyed the place. And this was years ago. It's not like it's a new thing, but yeah, this was years ago, and it was a nightmare to get him out of there. So
And you probably had that memory in the back of your brain too, right?
absolutely,
So maybe that had an impact on you with regards to getting going. I understand you're working on building your finances up and everything like that, but I think all of us have to address certain situations that we've experienced in our lives and they're kind of like false beliefs because we believe them to be true, but the reality, if you really dig into them, they're not really true. So I would think that an experience that your dad had that you knew all about would give you this concept that maybe residents, or also called tenants, are bad. They just tear up your property, they abuse you. But when you joined Lifestyles Unlimited and you found that there are different parts of the country to invest in, did all that melt away?
It didn't all melt away, but a big door opened. And the idea was, like, wow, I don't have to be across the street with binoculars looking at the house that I bought all the time. I really don't need to be monitoring this whole thing. You can have a management company do that, or you can like lifestyles offers, you can have somebody be screened and you can get a nice tenant in your property and you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, that was a huge worry. Like if you find the house that you got for a good deal and you make a bunch of equity on it and you fix it up and everything's nice, well, that's great. But then you go to put someone in there and you put the wrong person in there, it's going to be a nightmare. And that could all turn around for you. And Lifestyles teaches, it taught me how to screen for the right person and get a good tenant in there and doing it in a place where it's favorable for me as, the landlord, that person who owns the place. I have more rights to my property than the person who just happens to be in there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I learned the same lessons myself. In the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about strategy. You won't want to miss this. Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. My name is Al Gordon. I'm joined by Scott. Together, we're working on your information flow. We're working on your financial freedom. We're working on anything we can work on to help you, because that's how we roll is Lifestyles Unlimited members, right, Scott? I mean, that's how you roll, right?
Absolutely.
That's part of the reason you're doing this radio show, right? You want to help somebody out. You want to share your experience with somebody listening to us so that maybe they'll understand that there's a different path. Just like you have found, just like I have found, just like the thousands of members of Lifestyles Unlimited have found. That's part of the reason you're here, right?
You're right. Like we were talking about, started listening to the radio show back in 2019. I never thought I would actually be on the radio show. So this is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, if anybody listening is new or they're skeptical, I was right there and I wasn't sure about it. It sounded gimmicky or too good to be true. And, um, I can assure you it is 100% real. I mean, I'm looking at my deal right now as we're talking, the one of my deals is like, it's amazing what lifestyles teaches and what it can do for your life. So,
So what are you looking at? Share it with us.
it's actually my first deal, that I got. It was
Okay.
back in January. There's a house down in Brazoria, Texas, which is like southwest of Houston. Um,
Okay.
and I
Can't
don't,
necessarily drive there in an hour, right?
not from where I'm at particularly. Yeah, no, I've only been to the state of Texas once. It was years ago. I don't know the areas very well. Um, but this area, I get a lot of, from the email blasts. I get a lot of, deals through that. This one, like I said, this is the first deal. Um, yeah, it was just, once I started getting the email blasts, I couldn't peel my eyes away from my computer screen because I was looking at every deal like, oh man, I got to get this one. I got to get this one. And this one came across and I was like, oh man, it's like I couldn't lose on this. And yeah, so I couldn't believe when I got it, I was like, oh man, this is it. And yeah, it's been great since.
So what was it about that email that stood out to you? Was it the color of the house? Was it the number of bedrooms? What stood out and screamed at you?
I mean, it was the numbers. The house
Numbers.
was, yeah, I
Numbers
know.
boring, dude. Come on. Really? Numbers?
It was the numbers. I didn't even look at the pictures really. I didn't really care. Because the numbers were amazing. And, um, if, when I was looking at it, I was like, if I could just, if I could get this or something like this, man, it's going to change everything. And, you know, the, it yeah, I got it and everything worked out. All the lifestyles member, the mentors, the real estate agents, everybody, really moved fast, professionally. It went so smooth. I still can't believe how smooth everything was and how nice everybody was. Everybody explained everything that they were doing. That there, at no point was I nervous. I was so nervous going into it, but they just made it so easy. Yeah, and now I can't stop looking at deals. Like I'm gonna, I'm looking at two this week. I think I might be closing on two this week. So yeah, it's just picking up.
You're moving.
I'm moving.
You've got the bug and you're not looking for a cure, right?
No, 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 no. And like Dell said, just buy one. Get that one under you, get it done, and you'll see. And it's true. I mean, after I got this one done, yeah, like I said, I'm already on to the two and three now. So
How many times did you visit that property number one that you did during the time from the time that you acquired it to the time you put a resident in it? How many times did
zero. I'll,
what, zero?
zero. Yeah, and I probably never will see it honestly because it's so far away from me.
You know, most people think you got to be at that property at least once a week. I mean, how did you do it living in the Pacific Northwest, buying the Gulf of America, and never going to the property and never having the desire to go to the property?
Just getting the right people, and through the lifestyles vendors, um, all the right people are there. You could talk to everybody who's in that vendor list, and everybody, everybody was so helpful. And like I said, everybody was either a member or they were a member or they all know, everybody knows everybody in in that vendor list. Um, so that was very helpful. But yeah, you do not need to see the property. You don't need to visit it. Everybody's a professional. They know what they're doing as long as, you hire them to do a job. I'm not going to tell an inspector how to inspect, and I'm not going to tell a general contractor, how to do his job or anything like that. These people know what they're doing. They're professionals, and you hire them to do their job, and they do it. They do a great job too.
So let's go back to the numbers on that first property. What was it that attracted to you? Was it the cash flow? Was it the equity capture? Was it both?
It was mainly the equity capture. It did cash flow though, and obviously I wanted to do that, because that's what Lifestyles teaches, to make sure it's got to be green in all the numbers, right? So the cash flow was there, and there was a pretty big equity capture, which was something that I was looking for on my first one. I wanted a pretty big or I wanted a lot of equity in the numbers because if something were to happen, like a big change order or something like that, then I wanted to make sure that there was, that the first one wasn't going to be a fail. Um, and it wasn't. Everything went smooth. He did have like one little change order, because he changed something. I forget what it was, like put windows in it, and that wasn't. Yeah, I forget what it was honestly, but yeah, it came out basically where I estimated it to come out.
So, how much cash did you put into the deal?
This one, let's see here. I have right now I have 11,700 in the deal. Um, yeah, 11,700 uh for the loan to buy the house to start the renovation. Um, minus the first 30% of the renovation costs, because you get that back at the end, right?
Right, right. What amount of equity did you capture?
$46,318.
Wow. So you went from under $12,000 actually spent and invested physically in the property. That was your contribution to the all-in cost. And you captured $46,000 in additional equity.
Correct. That's what it shows me here on Quest.
So you basically turned 12,000 bucks into 58,000 bucks.
Something like that. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, now pinch yourself. It's real, man. You actually did that.
That's the thing is like, it says it here on the screen and I know I own the house. Um, it still doesn't seem real. I mean, I know it is, but it's crazy because it's
Yeah.
just, it actually
Yeah,
works.
your net worth just went through the roof. Hey, in the next segment, we're going to get into these deals. Stick around. Welcome back to the show. So, Scott, we got to share this with the audience because I had no idea that the property that I showcased on yesterday's show is actually a property you're about ready to buy. Is say it's not true, but is it?
It is that it's crazy because because I'm looking at the deal and it's in the crosshairs. I'm about to pull the trigger on it either today or tomorrow. And you called it out. You said, "Hey, there's this one." You said the numbers and I'm looking at them. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's unbelievable when you're talking about these numbers, but it it's real. It's real. I'm looking at it and yeah, it's about to be mine.
Yeah, and what I think is amazing about it is I thought about this particular property based off of what you were talking about in the last segment, and I thought, wow, is history repeating itself? Are we finding another deal that's similar to the first deal? It sounds like we are, which tells me that these deals are out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like this isn't just like this one, this isn't some unicorn deal. There, these, I mean, yeah, it is a great deal. And don't get me wrong, there are worse deals, I guess, deals that don't calc out like this one. But they, th- you, you and I don't have enough money to buy all these deals. There's so many, and it's. Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to jump on these because they go fast, but you
Yeah.
need to do your due diligence. And that's where I'm at. I don't want to jump into something without doing it the lifestyles way. So, I'm currently
What are
doing
you
that.
waiting on that you don't have?
What's that?
What are you waiting on that you don't have?
The inspection report. So I had the inspector out there. I'm just waiting for the report to come back. I just want a clean bill of health before I jump into and pull the trigger on it.
What do you think you're going to need to do to that particular property, or do you need the inspection report to finalize that list?
That's the only thing I really want to see. Um, I mean, the purchase price, the repair price is really low, for a property like this. Um, but everything else, it, it just looks, it's almost too good to be true. You're like, how is all of this calking out to these numbers? And, um, it just makes me kind of go old school mindset of, it's too good to be true. So I want to make sure. So I'll have an inspection and look at that inspection report. And once that thing has got if it's a clean bill of health and everything's on the up and up, then this thing's going to be mine. So hopefully today, if not during this show.
Wow. What would be great is which realtor are you working with, by the way? You want to give him a shout out?
Oh, Moon Kim, he is the
That's
man.
Moon. He is the man. That guy is a powerhouse, and he's
It's crazy.
exclusive to Lifestyles Unlimited members. He doesn't work for anybody else but the Lifestyles Unlimited community. I mean, it's awesome for us, right?
Right. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how he can do everything he does. But he is, yeah, he's the force of nature.
So, I mean, if this property inspection comes in and you don't see anything that makes you want to walk away from it, you would basically be investing another about $11,000 of cash into a deal that would allow you to capture like almost $46,000 of additional equity. So I
Hmm.
mean, let's take a step back here and let's look at the big picture for the audience. Since January, you would have invested effectively around $23,000, and you've got almost $100,000 of total equity in just two properties. I mean, you're getting like a 400% return on capital gain. Where else can you make investments, Scott, where you can get a return like that?
I, I don't know. Um, I'm sure that there's some industry where you could get lucky, but this isn't luck. Um, the lifestyle doesn't teach, go out and get lucky on something. Um, this is you know, these are hard numbers. I mean, it, they really teach you, they really give you the education in order to make these decisions. And I think that's what's really important. It's not like you pay for some service to go out and do this stuff for you. You really got to learn how to do it, and that's what's really cool about it. I really enjoy learning. I like running quests when the email blasts come out and see if these things are going to work. For me, like I want a lot of equity capture on the first few properties that I buy, so I could turn those into cash flowing ones. A lot higher cash flowing ones in the near future here. Because eventually I want, higher cash flow. I want to replace my W-2 income. But for these first ones, yeah, I want some bigger equity capture.
So what are you going to do with these properties with the big equity capture? You're going to hold them for like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. What's the game plan? What's the strategy?
I don't plan on holding them too long. You want to fix them up and get them nice. This particular property that we're talking about is already fairly nice.
Yeah.
It's actually, I've seen the video from the GCs, and it's a nice property. It needs a little bit of repairs, but it's basically ready for someone to move in. And I don't got to use too much of my capital to, you know, to repair the place. And I plan on, if it works out, the house is generating enough money, I guess, then, I'll hold on to it for maybe a couple of years. I'd rather, I'd rather get rid of it after a year and a half, something like that. We'll see how the market's doing. And then I could turn this one house into, I could turn this one into, if there's the same deal, three or four houses.
Yeah, you got the strategy down. That's
Yeah.
exactly the way it works. And it's amazing how fast it can go once you've gotten that first one under your belt because now the nerves are gone, right?
Hmm. I mean,
You've
I
got
still
the
got a
team,
little bit of the
right?
nerves, but.
Okay.
You know, I know how it works now. I know how this machine works, and it's, you know, the first time you operate a saw, you know, you're pretty nervous. But once you understand how it works and the safety and how, you know, the mechanics of it, you know, now we're chopping wood. We're going to town now.
There you go. And you've got a team built, right? I mean, it's not like you're doing this all by yourself. You've got a team of people. You've got a realtor, you've got a hard money lender, you've got a conventional lender, you got a general contractor, you've got an inspector. I mean, you've got other people on your team that are providing you services so that you can basically orchestrate this whole thing, right?
Yeah, and all of them, they're all lifestyle members. They all know lifestyle members, if they're not, but everybody knows everybody. And it's like, yeah, it's a well-oiled machine. Like I said, it was so easy to buy the first one because everybody knew everybody and it was so streamlined. And all I had to say was, I'm new at this. This is my first one. And I mean, from the mentor to the lender to the GC, everybody, you know, everybody was so nice and they helped me through it, you know, cause I was new. I was nervous and, you know, they took care of me. Everyone's taking care of me and they all worked with each other. Like I said, it's like a well-oiled machine. And that was the first one. You know, I would have expected something to go wrong, but nothing did. It was, yeah, it went so smooth.
How many houses are you on track to buy this year?
I, this year, I was hoping to have three, or I said two in the beginning. I was like, I just want two. And now I want to buy two this week. Like, so, I don't know. I want as many as I can get. Um, if I have cash, um, I'm buying a house. I don't, yeah, I make pretty good money with the, the job that I have as a sheet metal worker. So $10,000. I mean, I could do that fairly quickly with my W-2 paycheck. Um, So I won't be doing that for long once I get these equity captures because then I'm going to be turning these into multiple houses.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You have your initial seed investment money, you spend all of that, then your investments mature, they get to a point where you can harvest the gains. So you pull the money out of those properties and you take that money, instead of buying boats and jet skis like dumb people do, you go out and you buy additional real estate to replace the real estate that you just liquidated, and it creates a snowball effect. Are you feeling the snowball effect?
It's you're exactly right. And I didn't think I would be feeling it so quickly, especially after I just bought one. You know, I thought, oh, okay, you know, it's going to take a while to get it's like I'm already, like I said, I'm already looking at the next two, you know, in a week. I'm like, geez, it's crazy. I didn't think I would be this far along this quick. And I'm just excited to like, I just want to keep buying more and more and more.
Well, Scott, I want to thank you for being on today's show. I know you made a difference in somebody's life. You actually opened somebody's eyes, and for that, I appreciate you. And if you want to do what Scott's doing, you want to do what I'm doing, heck, you want to do what the members of Lifestyles Unlimited are doing. Go to lifestylesunlimited.com, click on Start Here, and let's get you going.
Thank you for listening to Lifestyles Unlimited's Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Ready for more of the map? Visit lifestylesunlimited.com. Explore our videos and articles. Click on the radio tab to access past show podcasts. View the radio show schedule and listen to our best of radio shows. Want to continue the conversation? Follow Lifestyles Unlimited on Facebook today. We want to meet you as well. Sign up for a free workshop at lifestylesunlimited.com. Until next time, remember, it's not the money, it's the lifestyle.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.